Again. Hey guys, welcome back. If you're watching this live, it's because you have your notifications on. If you're seeing this video after the fact, it's probably because you don't have your notifications on. And with me today, I brought short stuff with me. Hold on, wait. Maybe if you climb the ladder. This is the ladder of success. There you go. So I've got Talon, the California, aka the California Kid here from California Kids YouTube channel. Also my son, in case I didn't make that clear there. He's not just a kid that I randomly found and brought to work with me today, but who fell off a ladder and got me in trouble. But anyway, if you're watching this, welcome back. This camera's going to be going throughout the project here, and if you want to leave a comment, say hello, feel free to do that. But again, you're watching Jason. This is Talon, and this is Carpenter Dad Life. And thanks for joining in. And again, like if I say, if you're not seeing this live, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. And
if you'd like to see more videos like this, give us a thumbs up.
Definitely. And leave those comments, that way we know you're there. Also, I noticed a lot of people on YouTube are doing these like hook, careful how I say that, hook questions, not hooker questions, hook questions, how you hook somebody. And so we're going to try to come up with some question that might hook you guys into wanting to watch and see how this all goes. And then we thought about like what would happen, disaster or something bad, or we have to solve some type of problem. But in all reality, we have cabinets that we have to try to fit into a hole that are too small for the hole. And I actually thought they're going to be too big for the hole, but turns out they're too small. Mm-hmm. So now we've got to come up with a plan on how to fit these cabinets in. And so that's the biggest part of what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be installing two cabinets right behind us, a lower one that's a garage, and then also an upper cabinet. And we're going to be making them fit into this hole. So the bottom one is actually called a garage.
Really?
It is, yeah. Actually, it's an appliance garage. It's a place to put your appliances. So, you have a little clicker there, and you go to open the garage door, and then like, you drive inside, like your appliances. Let's drive now. Anyway, we're gonna let this camera roll. If you guys have any questions, throw them up there on the screen. And we can't hear you, but I'm guessing you can hear us if you're watching. So anyway, and if you're not seeing this live, no problem. Enjoy the show. Maybe we'll come back and eventually figure out how to edit these down so they're not so long. But thanks for stopping by and hanging out if you do. And we're going to get to work because we got to get to work.
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
That'd be a good idea. Okay. All right. Let's quit playing around. Get to work, Back to being short again. Life's tough when you grow up.
It's not easy being short.
So let's bring in that first garage one so we can get some measurements on it. I wish I was a little taller. I wish I wasn't taller. I wish I had it rather than that. It's the smallest garage I've ever seen. Okay. So this is going to go here. See that plug down there?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have to measure for that too, because we'll cut out for that. So it's going to be essentially like that. Strange thing, but see how this is center, and that's not center. So what we want to do right off the bat here, clean all the dust off of it. This is one of the few cabinets that didn't get installed originally because we had all that water damage that happened. So when this place flooded out, the countertops had just gone in, so we're actually pretty close to the stage we're at right now, short of we did have all the plumbing hooked up. That's scheduled to happen on Thursday. Today's Wednesday. So tomorrow, all the plumbing stuff is going to get hooked up, and then we're back to where we left off. And it'd probably be a good time actually to throw some of those videos out too that show all the water damage and everything. So yeah, if you guys don't know the story on what happened, we've been here at this kitchen before. We've built and almost completed this kitchen before, And right as we got close to completing it, one of the water lines, one of the new water lines that was in the wall blew out, and it was not good. Not good at all. Anyway, it ended up being new flooring, which you can almost kind of see if I tilt it down. It'll take you for a little tour. This is all new flooring here. We have new bottom cabinets. The uppers are still the original cabinets. These countertops are new countertops because the old ones had to get yanked out in order to get to the cabinets underneath that were damaged from the water. But right behind this dishwasher here was a line, and something to do with the PEX and how it was connected just wasn't quite right and blew out. So thankfully insurance took care of it, the plumbers took care of it, and it resulted, however, one of the, I suppose, bonuses was since it destroyed all the flooring, that allowed them to get new flooring. So anyway, which looks pretty good. So we're to that stage. And now we're back to doing cabinets that we never got in. So they've been sitting around for almost not a year, but almost. They showed up in September. I think some of these cabinets actually, the one behind me, those all showed up back in September, and it all went wrong in December. Then it took all these months in order to get to where we're at right now. So how do we figure this out, Dylan? We've got this large gap. We have to split that gap in half exactly so that this ends up being center right here. How do we do that?
Figure out what that is.
Exactly. And what are we going to do with that?
Split it in half.
We're going to split that dimension in half. All right, so see how it's almost 3 inches?
Uh-huh.
If it were 3 inches, 1.5 inches would be half of 3 inches. But this is going to get a little more complicated. So it's actually just barely a 16th under. Is that a 16th or 32nd? It's actually a 32nd under. So it's like half of a 16th under. So that means when we do our 1.5, we need to drop it to 1.5 essentially, and like press it against the blade a little harder when we make that cut. So we need it to actually fill in on both sides. This is a little bit challenging. Usually you fill in on one side, add the next piece, fill in, add the next piece. You usually don't do it this way, but in order to have this garage unit with the cabinet here, that's what we gotta do. So see this little guy, this comes out. That's just a temporary support. So when you open this up, you get this nice flush countertop all the way in. It's kind of a bummer you lose this much space, though. That's 3 inches lost there. If they would have made this a 36. And I'm guessing the reason they don't make it an actual 36 is because there's a rare chance, although the cabinet underneath of it's 36, so yeah, that's kind of weird. Why didn't they do that? Yeah, I mean, that's 36. I don't know. The reality is they knew you'd have to put a countertop in, and you'd have to fit this in after the fact, and if it was an exact 36, it may or may not fit really well, and we could make it fit.
We couldn't make it like
Like if you push hard enough, it'll fit. Yeah. Right, if you would have dropped it, but you also need enough room. So, and they may be thinking about like this, because here's 1.5 right there. So it's almost like that same line goes up. But there is a 1.5 piece on here. That's this piece. Some type of design thing that's over my head. Hard to say. What's really weird too, maybe we have to look at it. I wonder if this is actually supposed to be set back further. Probably is supposed to be set back further. That way you have all this, because otherwise you're losing room. Where's our plan? When in doubt, read the instructions. I know, weird, right? I don't know if this one shows the detail for that. But it would make sense if it was further back, because that plug's further back. You don't have a gap behind it.
yeah.
And you don't want to lose any countertop space, so it's got to be back. Sometimes they give you like this right here. So here's our layout here, which is everything you see. That's correct. That's that wall over there, minus the big cabinet. So that one. that wall there. Oh, there's our backsplash plan apparently, or something. Minus the other cabinets.
It's right there.
Here's this one without that on there for some reason. Why did you do that? That's really not helpful. Fridge wall, that's this wall. They only gave it part of it. That doesn't show this. I wonder if this had to do with, oh, you know what it is? These are all the new stuff they had to order. So we already had this one and we already had these, so it doesn't show up in the image.
You didn't show this.
So let's look at the old plans. So we also have the original plans from back when. Oh yeah, you see right here, it's recessed. So we have 33 inches is what it is by 39. And so they're showing a space between those. And it is all the way back against the wall. That makes more sense because you wouldn't lose so much because right now this is space. The only downside is every time you set something here, it's going to be in the way the moment you go to open this. I guarantee somebody will set something here and you can't really set anything here or this won't open.
Now you're gonna open it and it's gonna.
Yeah. But if you set your car, even car keys, whatever you put right here, it's going to be in the way. So you got to like, this surface has got to be non-used. I don't know what that is, but it's wiping off, whatever it is. So, okay, here we go. So here's the fridge. This is what it looks like on the plans here. You guys want to see the plans? We'll show you the plans. So we are looking at this wall right here, right? Yeah. So the purple thing is the fridge, and we have this upright cabinet that's kind of over here behind me. The fridge is that one over there. See how that works? And then we have these, the garage, appliance garage ones, and the one above it. And so what we're just determining is where exactly those are lined at. So we have a 36-inch space here, but they only came with a 33-inch cabinet. So it means you got to put filler on each side of that. So that's kind of what we're talking about. Hey, how we doing?
Oh, hi, Sophia.
So that is what we're working on right now. So, okay, so that plan shows it as being tucked in there up against the wall, which means the crown molding is also going to dip back right here too. It's going to go around the corner, over and back. That's kind of weird that you have this edge though. Was there a panel that's supposed to go there maybe? Didn't show a panel, did it? So see how you have these numbers, W3339, W, sometimes you get a W something right here. There's a filler number, but I think that's those pieces we already found.
Yeah.
So in that sense, our distance across here isn't 36, it's actually 36 plus because of this. And so if you put a 36 in here, it wouldn't have worked, it would have still had a space. So that must be the logic behind what they're thinking. Oh, there you go. This is what it's going to look like when we're done. So this is that appliance garage right here. This is the cabinet above it. And currently what we have is nothing above it. So I know, exciting, right? Short stuff over here. I wish I was a little taller. I wish. I have to get you stilts just so you can walk around. All right, let's see. That's it. That's it. That's what we got. So it's fillers, but there's no. I guess what I'm trying to figure out is there a panel? Let's go look. Is there another panel out there? There should be a blue panel. Yeah, that's the back of the island cabinet. Is there another panel somewhere? If there's another panel, which I don't think there is. Okay, so let's rethink this now that we got this idea. So now what we need to do is we need to know, this gets tricky because there is a center between these points. So yeah, it wouldn't change. It's still the same. In order for this to be centered, it'd still be 1.5 inches on this to match that. But this one's going to be plus that depth. So let's do this. Let's take our 1.5 inches. Remember, it was 3 before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now it's 3 1/8. So the 16th, 8, 3 1/8. So we're going to have to do 1/2 inch plus 1/8 is 5/8. So that piece is going to be 1 5/8. So let's write that down. So we're going to go 1 5/8. I don't know if I can put things down. You just can't see anything, can you? And on this side, it's going to be 1 1/2. And I think in this scenario, before we had to be just under where this one, we can actually push into this panel a little bit on the side, but we'll have to come into this cabinet to mount it. So we'll have to measure off and actually find where that panel's going to hit. Okay, we'll do that. So the other thing we need to do is the height of these guys. So the filler height. What do you got? 57 1/8? 2 marks, right? 57 2 marks. So I'm not that tall, I can't see up there.
I use my binoculars.
If you get your binoculars out, so on the left side, not that it'd be different, but it could be, on the left side it's 57 1/8. So all right, left side, actually, oh, I'm not writing it right here, it's right on the pad.
Yes, I can actually see.
Okay, so let's do this. So I'll write a left and we'll write a right on there. So we have 1 5/8 for the left. And the right side is going to be 1.5 inches, and we'll check that again. And then we just had 57 1/8 was our height.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people are missing out on that part here. For anybody that happens to be watching and following along. Maybe actually. Change our camera view.
You can see me now.
You got taller. How's that possible? Actually, it's more like 1 16. I feel like that changed somehow a little bit. Whatever we did. Or my eyeballs are wigging out. One of the two. It's a little. It's between the two. So let's go. We can always trim a little off. Doesn't hurt to be over. You know, it is. No matter how many times I cut it, it just keeps getting shorter, so you might as well cut it long. Just like your hair. It just keeps getting, well. Actually, that'd be the other way around. Wouldn't that joke be more like...
How for long I cut it, it just keeps getting shorter.
Well, it keeps growing back, right? Where wood doesn't grow back, so I think that's part of the joke there. So we're at 57 1/16 on that one. So we're within a 16th. So the right side's gonna be 57. It's gonna probably work out to be a 16th. Okay, so let's double, triple check our measurements. So if we do 1.5 here, and we could cut that piece first, because I really want to know another thing too. Is this actually centered with this? We want to know it's actually centered. Can you hand me a square? Speed square? So if I use my ichrometer, aka my eyeball, bear with me, and I go like these. Center of those two should be the center of these two. Actually, we shouldn't even trust the doors because the doors could be off. What we should do is find the center between these 2 points. Complicated, right? I know.
Yes. Where's the door way off? Don't you want the doors to match?
Well, the doors, we adjust the door, but the door hinges can get an adjustment. Oh, that right there. But what I'm saying is, we're going off the box to here, and then these have like, see right down, there's like a left and right adjustment, there's a forward and back adjustment, there's an in and out adjustment. We have several adjustments to them, and up and down would be these guys, so. There's a few. So right there, we're pretty close to lined up at that mark. This is like the worst possible line. It's like not straight. RG straight. If I push it back, where it actually goes. That gets us really, really, the idea is that like you shouldn't be able to see the difference with your eyeball. So we're not trying to make it perfect, but we are trying to make it to where it lines up. Let's cut our first one. Here's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna cut our first piece of strip. We're gonna do it on this side and make sure that is actually correctly lined up, because an inch and a half looks like it's really hard to tell. It's really, 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 really close, but because of the way I drew that line, it's not. It's a little subjective. Okay, guys. So what we're gonna do is move out to where we've got our table saw setting. And we're going to start cutting some pieces down to make those fillers that we're going to work on. Step one, let's cut it down to the right size. So we don't want to table saw it. Also looking for any little imperfections or anything, because we're going to pick one side over the other. See how that's got all this goofy, it's messed up. So we're going to start with this side. So hold that right there, Leah. And we'll trim off the edge here so it's nice and straight. Consistencies and bring this down this way. So our first piece, we're going to go 15, we're going to go just slightly long, just in case there's something else going on other than what we expect. 57. Okay. Yeah, but what happens when you like hit your hammer with a thumb? And I'm like, well, what should happen? He's like, something pops out of your mouth. Should it pop out of my mouth? Hopefully those things don't pop out of my mouth. It's funny, but I've heard that from a few people. I should send Ben a link just so he can know. Just so he can know what we're talking about. chance on this because we don't have any extras. 57 1/8, 57 1/8. Okay. Why do we measure it twice?
Because we only get to cut one.
Because you only get to cut once, and then after that, no matter how many times you cut it, it just keeps getting shorter, right?
I don't know, for some reason.
Sounds like a dad joke to me, but I feel like people are missing out on the action here. I'll get towards you a little bit. Because I mean, if I lose a finger, you know, I want to make sure everybody has a chance to weigh in on that and say what a bad idea that was. Okay, that's that one. The next step we're going to do is we're actually going to move over to the table saw. We're going to set this up for 1.5 inches. Sometimes it's, yep, there it is. Sometimes the saw, DeWalt saw, tends to get kind of jammed up with dust. So when it's starting to get jammed, what I do is I just run it all the way out and clean that little edge out, and then it starts moving freely again. Yeah, it's still kind of acting like it. Let's take it back this way. Okay, so we want 1.5 inches. So we've got it marked in our settings here, but I actually don't trust that completely. So what we do is we'll actually measure off the blade to make sure that it's pretty accurate the way I've got it set up, but it is adjustable, which means it can be unadjusted. Let's bring our blade up, and we're gonna measure that distance from the fence to the tooth. And so, yeah, exactly. So see how we're off here? So it says, according to this, we're at 1.5. So this is probably out of alignment or something. So that might get us close. And then what we do is bring it over because we actually want an actual 1.5. Right there. That's it, there. Yes, thank you. Earmuffs are a must. Also set our blade depth where it's just, see these little guys down? Right here, these little cutouts. They have a special name, and I can't think of what that is right now. But what you want to do is set it to where it's the depth of your material is right in these little, these little grooves. The word eludes me right now, but I'm sure when I stop thinking about it, suddenly it'll enter my mind. There you go. So in theory, we've got a piece that is 1.5 inches positive, just a little bit, maybe a 30-second positive, and also a little bit long, with any luck. And then what we can do is actually measure it for what it is. So we're gonna head back in the kitchen. Give you guys a nice place to sit and watch.
Now they can't see me again.
You got shorter all of a sudden, that's weird. Must be a weird phenomenon that happens when it's live. It causes Talon to get shorter. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Half the trick around here is just not to get ran over by Dad. I just get to moving, and if you happen to be in the wrong spot, boom. So, so see how we're just slightly higher than this? But now we can see how it's actually setting against that countertop material surface. And so then we can know for sure that we're not too short. And so what we'll do is mark that, and that's where we'll cut it off. Sometimes the pencil doesn't do it justice, so the next best thing is using a box cutter knife. And I can get an exact measurement. A little mark in there, and that way we know it's 100% as accurate as I possibly can. Okay, let's cut it. I'll be right back. I didn't even think about that. Could bring the camera out. And if it's too short, it's too late. It'll be fine. This does bring up an interesting thought, though. So I'll have to anchor these guys both to the face of the cabinet, which would be easy to do. But also I need to connect these to this side panel, which means the refrigerator has to come out. Oh, like Craig jig it and bring it in?
No.
No, because there'll be a cabinet in the way. And really I want to make, it's more important for me to line up this edge, because there's nothing to line up on here. So I have to attach these, and once this cabinet's here, but I can very easily go from this side and we can come in from this direction. Although that's not true either.
Unless you have an exact.
No, we can measure from here to there, no, that's no problem. It's all about, yeah, the way we know stuff is by measurements, so your tape measure does all that for you if you use it right. However, the problem is, once we get to this cabinet up here, you can't get to that part of it. So what if you have an interesting idea? You could Craig it in place if you got it lined up accurately, plumb. You could do those ones that way, or yeah, you could do the whole thing that way, I guess, and push this up against it. This one you can get to the other side of it, so if we put that one in second, we can do that. But even if we pull this fridge out, I pull all this stuff out, I'm still not going to be able to get to between these two unless we take that cabinet out. I have to uninstall that cabinet in order to get up there just to bring it down.
You can't open the doors and go through the cabinet?
No, because see this? See how there's a hole in the box here? And see the space?
Yeah.
See, you can't.
I have anything that would be long to go.
No, because what would happen is then you're screwing this part here into that, and it's going to try to pull those two pieces of wood together, or it's going to pull through there, and it's going to cause all kind of potential issues there. I mean, you could, yeah, I mean, you could. I don't know, could you? Could. Could. This is that whole, like, there's consequences to everything you do, so you can go one way and it works and the other way doesn't work. So I think the safest way to play that, actually, I kind of like the idea of just, we could get this actually mounted in place first, as long as this is exactly where it needs to be all the way up. And then these cabinets would actually follow that all the way up. And on this side, we don't have to do it on that side because we can get to the back side of them. Oh yeah. So the next thing we've got to do before we can get this into its final place to know where that's going to go, technically going to go, is we've got to get the measurement for the that outlet that's back there. Okay, so let's get them off the wall. It's going to be 1 3/4 to the edge of that. So 1 3/4. Let's pull this guy back out for now. Set him aside, maybe over on the countertop or something. Gently. Pull our appliance garage back out. So this is where we're going to get the plunge cut hole through there. So then So before we can get this appliance garage in, we've got to first figure out exactly where this electrical socket is, our plug here, our outlet, and get all these measurements transferred. So we need a space. It's going to be like this and like that and like that. So it's big enough so this will go in and out. And then also once that faceplate goes on, the faceplate actually will probably end up bringing this forward and the faceplate will cover the wood so we don't have any edges. But we need to have this as close as we can get it. So we're going to go 8.5. We'll use our handy dandy little cheat sheet here. And we're going to draw this out. So we're going to do our little, where that's going to be, and we're going to go to this wall. So that's going to be 8.5. Go in that direction. And it's going to be across there. It's going to be, let's say about 10 3/4. 10 3/4 to the other side. So we're going from that. Everything basically is based off that edge, this far edge right here. So we're gonna go over there, and that's gonna be 10 3/4. And then we have height off of the existing countertop. So we're gonna go, we can do let's go 9 3/4 and 14 1/4. 9 3/4, 14 1/4. Double check that because we like that. 9 3/4, 14 1/4. Yep. And double check these ones one more time. I feel like we should. No, we don't have to be too wide. We only need to be the width of this box right here. The actual box that's kind of behind it. It's nice if you're a little lower than these prongs because sometimes we're going to pull that out. You can't get that out if the cabinet's going across there. Mm-hmm. So it's super helpful if you actually cut it just a little bit bigger, but not too big, because the actual cover plate will hide that hole once we're done. So now we got our measurements. Time to transfer them. So another thing to watch out for is, so if we took this measurement talon and we went 14, the 8.5 from the wall, and we just laid this out 8.5 right here. Remember, there's an 1 3/4 over here. Mm-hmm. So if you'll come over here, this side, what I want you to do is hold the tape measure 1 3/4 past that edge. See where it's at right now? Uh-huh. So what you want to do is keep that line lined up right there. Okay. That way we're making up for that difference. Otherwise, we would be off by 1 3/4. So we're going to go 8.5. And the other one was 10 3/4. 10 3/4. See, I hear steps. I hear steps.
I was trying to walk quiet.
No, I saw the light trip and I was like, oh, somebody's coming up. How's it going, Ralph?
Good.
Yeah.
Crashed on my bike Monday.
Oh, yeah. Say, you look a little, you look good.
Look at that hand.
Oh, no.
I got the monster hand here.
That's like swollen. Well, as fast as you ride, I'm not surprised.
I'm supposed to do that. Got a big old. Oh yeah, you got to show these off, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh! Oh, you're going to scare the little children at home.
Oh man.
How did you do that? What trail were you riding?
I was up on the top of the 50, all the way up on the top, and then
Yep.
drop off down that hill where you go down before 50 starts actually.
Yeah, there is a fun little, by the rock.
Yeah, no, not the rock, the further higher up.
Oh, that's 49, never mind. 50, okay.
Yeah, way down there. You come up 49, turn right.
Yeah.
Right at the end of 49, the split rock is there.
Yeah.
And you keep going up.
So if
to
you
the
keep
top.
going
And
up
I
to where
dropped
the-
down this hill and I slid my front wheel into a big washout.
Oh, the
and,
wall.
And it just the wall. I just slammed my hands down into the crevice and my head. Need a new helmet.
I tried to avoid that trail. Yeah, true. You had a helmet on.
Yeah, I had a helmet.
And it still did
not a helmet anymore.
You hit that hard.
Yeah. My neck's sore. You know. Keeps me young.
You might want to slow down a little bit.
That's what I was trying to do. That's part of the problem.
Yeah, that's true. It's really, I agree with that. It seems like when we use our brakes is the time where you get in trouble. If you would just
Let
let
it
off the
roll.
brakes and let it roll.
I would have shot right through. It's just a little narrow spot, you know. And take it easy, you know. Paid the price.
Brutal. Well, you didn't break anything apparently, huh?
Didn't
You just,
break anything.
it just roughed you up.
Once you break your collarbones, aren't they unbreakable after that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you put a titanium one in there.
No, I've broken both collarbones.
I've heard of guys where it breaks and it never grows back together and they're just separated.
Oh yeah, I know two people like that.
Is
One
that-
of them, the one piece is down, it connected to his rib bone. I mean, it's like, I go, oh God, you know, and his shoulders all
looks
dropped.
weird
And
and
his shoulder got no, that holds your shoulder up.
that's brutal.
And his shoulder's hanging down, you know. He drives a sprint car,
Oh, okay.
but that didn't happen in a sprint
Didn't
car.
happen in a sprint car,
That was
okay.
motorcycles.
Yeah.
Chisholm, Jeremy and Josh.
I thought we were getting off motorcycles because mountain bikes were safer and healthier for
Oh,
us.
right.
Right.
Yeah, I've been hurt more on bicycles than motorcycles. Motorcycles, you got a lot more safety gear on.
Yeah, generally. Yeah.
And you got, you know.
You would have had a better helmet.
You got
Chest
little
protectors.
pads on your hips, you know,
Yeah.
and chest protectors, and
What protects your collarbone. Yeah, we don't wear. That's right. We don't really wear that stuff.
yeah.
The downhill guys do that go to like the
Downhill
parks and
guys
stuff.
do.
They put the gear on, but they're not pedaling uphill. Or we're pedaling uphill and then doing downhill stuff without that gear.
Yeah.
Hence I bought that. Hence we both bought full face helmets when we
Yeah.
went to Dodge Ridge and did that park.
Doing
And
that.
yeah, because you are going downhill and
Yeah,
it's
you're
like,
riding
well,
the lift up the.
yep. Yeah, so you're not getting as hot. That's why I tried to wear it that day when I rode with you guys, and it was just too much.
It's too hot.
But with an e-bike, it wouldn't be a problem at all.
No, it wouldn't.
No, you're just not getting as hot doing that. But
Well, the counters are in.
counters are in,
Looking good.
so we're almost back to where it was when this whole thing went kaboosh.
Yeah. Well, is that a little gold look in there? A little
Yeah, it's got some little highlights.
highlights going through it.
Yeah, little quartz, I guess they call it. It's a little man-made things, however they do it. It's not painted
this is
on.
man-made.
It's a man-made product. Yeah,
It's actually better, isn't it? It doesn't
it is.
stain.
It doesn't stain.
Yeah, because
Marble is horrible.
spill wine on it.
Yeah, so if you didn't seal it and reseal it and seal it again,
Yeah, you're done. I mean, who wants that?
and there's some other product too that's porcelain, but it's like 3D printed porcelain or something. Like I don't know what the image is printed, right?
So it's not very thick.
But it looks the same. It's shiny edged. one wrong cut, one wrong move, the whole thing shatters. And I'm like, why would you want to do that? But it's high end, posh, top of the line. But I'm like, it's not even real. It's printed. Hector was the tile guy that's doing this stuff was explaining that stuff's printed. I'm like, really?
They like add the little. You have to pay extra for the little.
So it looks like some marbly thing that's not even real. I'm like, at least this. I mean, this is real. It's man-made, but it is real. But it's not porous, so it doesn't soak up anything. So.
Oh, that's going up over there, huh? Above.
Yeah, this is one of those appliance garages. So you can put all your appliances in it. There's be a plug in the back of this, and you can slide it out, and
Yeah.
it ought to be real fun to put in. It fits in between both these existing cabinets here on a countertop, which means I've got to run some filler strips on both sides.
Oh.
And of course, one side's a little bit deeper than the other, so to get it center lined with the cabinet, you've got to like run one filler longer and make up for that difference. So, you know, just carpentry stuff, right?
Yeah.
Piece of cake.
What's going on the back of this?
This is going to have a blue panel that matches this. So the blue panel goes on, and then I have some door fronts that look like those doors that are the same color blue, and you get 3 door panels on here.
They're just fake.
Yeah, they're essentially, but they don't open or anything.
Yeah.
They're mounted permanently.
For looks.
They're for looks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see them on in panel on an end of a cabinet.
Right.
So
Yep.
yeah. So this will be blue all the way around. That'll be done. That's why this has got such an overhang on it, because it's going to have all those panels built out.
Yeah, a little bit.
And then you have the thickness of this material. This bulldozing is like that much.
This
Build it up.
definitely changed this kitchen.
Mm-hmm. The flooring's really changed the look of the whole house in general, because it had that darker red flooring in here. That all the stuff that got ruined.
Yeah,
So I guess in a sense she got free flooring out of the deal.
really lightened it up.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Nice.
But yeah, man, I can't believe you crashed. I'm amazed actually seeing like how much it did to your head there, considering you had a helmet on. It's like, well, what if you didn't have a helmet on? Or there'd be like chunks of your head missing, like.
Yeah, because it was hard, that granite stuff, you know, it was hard granite. There was nothing soft about it.
That hill is
Hard.
rough,
Yeah.
hard, and if you crash, I
I
just
had
assume.
rock stuck in my head there. One spot there, there's a rock stuck in there, you know.
So you ready for a full face helmet?
No, I'm ready to slow down. Slow down.
Well, we just talked about this the other day, how hard everything is right now, and dry and loose.
Quit riding on sandy stuff.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble with sandy stuff, fast sandy stuff.
I like the sand, but do you have your tire pressure high or something?
No. I
You
got
got-
big ass tires, but
you got fat tires, you
but
run
the
your-
sand, but the bike's heavy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just stay
Let's say if
away.
you run that lower 20 pounds or less in your tires, I mean, it helps you
away.
float across the sand.
Stay away from that stuff.
Stay
you
away
float
from it
until you
first.
have to turn.
Well, yeah, don't turn in sand.
Yeah, you know,
Everybody I've watched crash tried to turn.
yeah, it's always
Like, just don't
turning.
turn.
Yeah, turning it. You start turning and it starts doing weird, right?
Have you noticed, like, when you're going across sand, even at high speed, like, your front end just becomes more of a rudder, and you're just kind of turning it whatever way keeps you upright?
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily lean right.
Yeah, you
view.
start going this way, you got to turn that way.
But it's like you're-
there's a bush. Oh no.
So I just find when you hit sand, you're just turning it whatever way you have to in order to stay upright.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
And try to get your weight
on the back
back
tire.
as far as you can.
For me, it's almost like instead of trying to turn, trying to like stand up
Oh.
and lean it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
Sometimes it works good, and other times, man, it turns into one of these. Whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah. You know that's when you're going. Uh-oh.
Do they make a paddle tire for your bike?
You know, when you're going through sand, if it is kind of getting squirty, I got the thumb throttle. If I just nail the thumb throttle, it's like a motorcycle. And it just picks the front wheel up, goes straight. But that's the deal. It goes straight.
Yeah, that's what you need. Well,
Gonna get her garage back, maybe. I don't know.
she's close. She's close. Once we get the oven and the refrigerator out of there and bring those inside, she's super close. She's got a lot more room than she had like a week ago.
Yeah. Something in there.
Yeah, no, those are full of all the trim pieces, all the crown and baseboards and little odds and
Got
ends.
more trim to go up a little bit.
Yeah, got all the crown for
Oh,
the top
yeah,
of
around
these, top of that one.
Yeah. You love crown?
Oh, I love it. Well,
Everybody loves crown molding.
these are those straight ones up there. They're like a flat, so they're kind of a whole different beast in a sense versus actual crown like she has in here.
Yeah.
So in hindsight, if the cabinets had been made a little bit different where the face frames were taller, we could have ran that type of crown all the way throughout. And that would have been nice because it would have all been the same. Where instead we have like essentially two different types of crown. So I'm like,
Hand cut it all in up there in the corner.
but the last several years of people ordering cabinets, all the cabinets seem to come with a really short face frame at the top. Where it used to be the face frame on the top would actually be another inch or more higher.
Here.
Yeah, so that you could bring the crown to it.
Yeah, you got nothing there to.
So it just comes with that 90-degree piece that you put on there. It's like an L-shaped piece. And you fit that on there and it gives it a finished look like those over there, but in my mind it would have made more sense to just go straight up and flow the crown, the regular classic crown molding around it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I'll let you finish.
We do what we can.
To work.
Yep, back to work. Back to work. See you later. Okay, so where's the speed square? Right? It's next to me, standing here. See you here. So we made our mark. Back to where we were at. We made our marks, and we made up for that 1 3/4 distance. Let's go over to this guy right there. But for instance, like if we would have just hooked it on there and done it, see how far we would have been off? 8 1/4, 10 3/4. We would have been way over here. So essentially we're making up for the fact there is that space there, and that's what brings it into that plane correctly. Okay, the next thing we gotta do is the up and down one, which is a lot easier to do. So if we did that right, it should be 8 1/2 and 10 1/4. 10 1/4, 10 3/4, 10. Hey, look, it's a very small 3. It's almost non-existent, so that's correct. Amazing how easy it is to make these mistakes. A lot of those mistakes happen right here on this, and when you jot it down. And so hence it's worth double checking, but it's kind of, we're slowing our process down right now. The next measurements are 9 3/4 up from the bottom. So 9 3/4 and 14 1/4. Can you grab? Yeah, thank you. That was 14 1/4. 14 1/4, so 9 3/4. I think we got those mixed. Now we got it. Okay, we got those. Can you grab the other one of these? It's right next to the vacuum, that bigger one. Because this one's just not quite, won't quite do what we want to do. So just in case you're just tuning in and you're going, what the heck is going on and what am I staring at? You are looking at the back of an appliance garage cabinet. And what we're doing is we're marking out where we're gonna cut the hole for the outlet plug that's gonna be in the back of this, which is on the wall, which we'll get back to in a second. So hang tight, this is all gonna make sense if you haven't been following along. Thanks for watching. That over. And sometimes you're like way far away from edges, so neither of these tools will work for what we're doing. And then what you do is you just measure that same like we did here. So you put a mark and a mark, and then you come down and put a mark and a mark, and just connect those marks.
Mm-hmm. Well, you
And then
do your tape measure trick, where you just...
You can't. Yeah, you can. Yeah. So if, say, for instance, another way we could have done it would be to minus the 1 3/4 away from our measurements. So how we had that extra deal in here.
Yeah.
So that 1 3/4. So you could also take 8.5 and minus 1 3/4 from that. Mm-hmm. And then that would actually give you this same one here. But what we're doing is we're doing a math free. And sometimes the math isn't bad, but sometimes it's easy to mess up the math. So instead of adding one more thing to do, we just move the tape measure over to simplify it. Okay, so you got the multi-tool. You need a multi-tool, and if you could grab a headset for me.
Yep.
Because this is that multi-tool is a noisy critter. Yeah, I think it. And what we're going to do is plunge cut through this. And yeah, thanks. Blade's pretty worn out. That's why it's smoking. There it goes. Take our trusty handy dandy knife here, and we just clean the edges out. Got a hole in there? There's a hand in there. Where'd that come from, funny guy? Okay, the next thing we also need to do is we need to pop off the strip that's on the bottom. Use our handy dandy hammer. Set that up a little bit. And this way. I'm gonna pop this part off over here. There we go. Broken. So now we don't have that support on it, but we have to get that out of the way, otherwise this won't sit level. Okay. Let's get back on this one. Let's move back over to it. Where this is going to go. thing to simplify this too, we're gonna have to do is pull off these doors. I gotta get these on. Things like cardboard, stuff like this, and then we take the next one with the face down. You could set it on there. And we got a home for it, temporary. Grab it. Thank you. Got it?
Yep.
There you go. There's our, grab that strip there. Just want to double check that everything lines up before we get too far down the road. Yeah, maybe that would be a good title, Tom. What does it take to install an appliance garage cabinet?
What is it? Appliance garage cabinet?
What is an appliance garage cabinet? Well, if we post after it's done. But for anybody who's watching who's wondering what we're doing, still trying to figure out what we're doing, this is an appliance garage cabinet. Let me tilt it down a little bit. Appliance garage, and it's meant for you to be able to slide your appliances in it. I don't have one personally, so I'm not too familiar with them. I've seen them, but actually I think this is the first one that we're installing. Interesting, we're still off a little bit on our code there. Okay. Up against the wall there, so that's what we're going to do. What do we got here? Be off a little bit. So if we do 18, so the depth of this is 18. We have a little bit of space in the back just for, that puts this guy at, can you go back from there? Probably not. So what we want to know is how far to come off this wall. And I feel like that there's a good chance that wall is not exactly perfectly plumb, so we need to leave a little bit of space behind the cabinets, just the slightest bit. I think because you can see there's gapping on that one. So there was something going on there. Something, that was weird, something moved. So if we go 5 3/4, it goes for a while. Can you bring in two things? So our, and maybe we want to cut it, do it out there because it's kind of messy. And maybe we'll switch out there. That Craig jig blue thing.
Mm-hmm.
And also somewhere right there is the Craig jig screws because that has the drill bit in it.
Yeah.
Can you grab those two things? I think I'm gonna move us outside just so we're not making dust and mess inside the house. It'll be cleaner. All right, we're gonna move here. We're gonna take the drill and we're gonna take this guy. And this is our filler that's gonna help us with the next two cabinets. But first we're gonna add some Craig jigs to it. And Craig jig is really a tool, it's a jig, but I call it Craig jig. It's really pocket holes is what we're doing for anybody who has experience with this. Craig is just a brand that makes a really cool tool to do these pocket holes. Let's see, I want to set this up to be going into the back of that. I think how we can do this. Can you bring the step ladder out here?
Yep.
Yeah, bring that one out here. I think that might help us. So first we got to measure what we got. We have 3/4, and then we're gonna have to adjust everything to 3/4 inch size. Let's set it 1 inch right now.
Where do you want?
Probably like right here, I think. Somewhere. So set that. That's number 1. Then number 2, you gotta set the depth of that one. See the blade there. And that's set. You know how to do that?
Sure.
There should be an Allen in here somewhere. Yeah. There's the Allen.
2.
And then there's a third component on this. And I think. So the other thing you want to know when doing this is set the depth. Yes. Oh, let's go back to this.
Oh.
Setting depth is right here. So you want to do the shoulder, where you see that.
Uh-huh.
Set the shoulder right at that mark, so 3/4. And then go ahead and tighten that down. Give it an initial tightening. Just so it won't move on you. There you go. Now that won't move, go ahead and give it a little. You just want. Only thing you want to be careful when you're doing that is just not to strip out that set screw. So if you give it that little twist on there, just make sure it's fully in there, just like any Allen stuff that we deal with, bikes or whatever. Last thing you want to do is strip it. It's not the end of the world. We can always get another bit. It's just nice if you can avoid it. Okay, so now we got the drill set up. We've got this set up. The last thing we do is set up is this guy right here.
I thought we had a different piece.
Different piece.
Yeah, I thought it was this piece.
Yeah, but remember we always throw a scrap piece in first.
Uh-huh.
So if you try a piece of scrap, let's see. Let's grab a. I've got a smaller. Always do a scrap because if you do it to the main piece and it's not right, you won't know until you do it. Even though in my mind it's 100% right, it might not be. Maybe the moral of that story is no matter how right you think you are, you could still be wrong. And so that's why we do scrap pieces, so we could see if it is actually going to do what we want it to do. And really, we'd be making our cut this. The pocket hole is actually going to go this direction, but in a shorter, smaller piece. And so, see how it's set in there nicely, but it's not popping through here. Sometimes it's fully popped out, and if it pops out right here, that means your shoulder isn't going to have enough wood to grab. But I think what's going to happen. Which one's which here? So this is the other, the cutoff. Yeah, can you set that over with the other trim, just so it's. I think what's going to happen is it's actually going to pocket hole through the back side of the edge of like the corner of it, because it's such a short piece. Not in a bad way, but in a. Let's see. So we want. Here's something else too. So we got to think about the direction we're going. So we want it to enter in like this, that direction. So to get that, we need this to be the bottom, because this is where our other cabinet's going to be. That we're going to be going up against that surface. So we want to come into it from the back side. You don't want to run it through the nice finish side. Can you do me a favor and just hold the end of that up a little bit, because this is such a long piece. It's going to. So what's going to happen here is, see how this isn't fully covered? So it's going to chunk out, it's going to take out a little bit of that, but that's going to be hidden by the cabinet, so it's not a problem. closer to the top. Wouldn't hurt. Hey, and if we mess up, we mess up. We're good so far. Good. So let's go down. We're going to go roughly every 12 inches. That'll be more than enough. Next one. Right there. Next one, about a foot. One, about a foot. Yeah, yeah, there you go, perfect. That looked like a pretty gnarly crash he had. Destroyed his helmet, head was all tore up. Looked like he landed on a sharp rock too. Did you see his side? Like, he hit something pretty hard. Like, oof. Strange thing though with guys, that's kind of like a, you know, rite of passage. It's a war wound. You know, it's a fun story to talk about. It's not a problem for us guys, but I imagine if you're somebody like, and maybe you're I don't know, more embarrassed about it, or like don't want to tell people you had an accident or crash. But guys, we're like, yeah, I crashed, and I crashed hard. I'm not sure that's just a guy thing, but no idea. But maybe it's a personality thing. Let's see, I want to get closer at the end of this. Okay, and then in our box of screws here, we have a cheat sheet. This one does, or the other one does. So 1 1/4 inch length, standard length for 3/4 inch thick stock. So that's what we're joining. So that means you want a 1 1/2 inch fine thread, because it's hardwood, although we're going through hardwood and we're going into, unfortunately, or fortunately, however, we're going into more of a plywood particle thing. So we're actually going to need the bigger thread versus the fine thread. So we take that inside. This can stay here. This is going to come with us. Here for now. And you can see our piece here. We've got all those pocket screws thanks to our Craig jig. We're ready to go try this out. Oh, can you bring the step stool back in?
Yep.
So we'll take the appliance garage out of the way. Set it aside. I try not to do impact with these because
Oh, right.
they can strip pretty easy in the wood versus like a regular wood screw into something. Impact's great, but if you use a regular drill, you can feel as it goes in. And you're just trying to go in until it pulls those two pieces of material tight. And if you go past that, it essentially pulls so hard that it strips the piece you're trying to join together. So we don't want to do that. One thing we could do would probably help us, but I'm not sure this is going to be, would be ideal if we could clamp it in place so it doesn't move when we're putting the screws in. To do that, I don't think we can get I don't think we have any clamps that will go that far.
I don't think.
No, let's see if that'll. No, it's just not going to go far enough. There is another technique where we clamp it on the end and it presses a board against it. But let's line up the bottom one, and if we get the bottom one in exactly where it is and get it screwed into place, that'll hold it from shifting left and right. But you just need to get one nailed. One screwed. Well, you're trying to nail it, right? But maybe that's why we use that term, nailed it, right? Nailed it. But you're trying to get it exactly where you want, and then we're gonna firmly put it in place. So I have used, when it's a skinnier piece, I can go through and do a pin nail or something and get it exactly where we want so it doesn't slide, and then add the screws. But what we could do to be helpful is we could use a clamp on the top. Swinging out of control wildly. That we can do. Go with our 5 3/4. Put a little mark up here. Keep the top from moving around. Another thing you could do, if precision was super key, is you could cut a piece that goes against the wall to here, and put another piece on this side, so it'd be stuck between those two, and then you could clamp that, and it would stop it from being able to slide left and right. Here's the trick right here, so we gotta get this lined up. And the crank screw, the pocket hole thing, tends to want to pull it in the direction you put the screw. So if you're not careful, it will slide forward on you. See how it pulled tight? Yeah, that's what we're looking for. That is what we're looking for. It's really bad feeling. Look at the saw. That is really bad feeling. We didn't cut that at 0. small, skinny. Yeah. And so you just need a fresh pack. There might be some in there, yeah.
Okay.
Is there a pack of?
Yeah, there's still.
Oh, is there still new? Okay, here.
Still.
Yeah, grab the pack. Yeah, there you go. We can do that first. Because we're going to have to fix that problem. This is why we call it unedited. Life unedited. So if you're watching this, as I'm just starting to put that first screw in, what I'm noticing, can you grab a speed square? Essentially what I'm noticing is that clearly something was going on with our table saw because we didn't get a straight 90-degree cut. And obviously it's one of those things you should check, but I don't remember having it not set on 0. So if you look at it there, it's tight at the back and loose at the front, which means the back side of this actually has a slight angle cut to it. Like an unintentional miter or something to it. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to trim that forward, which we can. Get some we'll get some shims back there and we'll tighten it up against the shims so that way it straightens it out. So the reality is this is life, and this is what happens no matter how straight you think your saw is, or you think it was, or you thought it was set up. It's very possible that you missed a detail. And this is the reality. This is real life. This is what happens. And then, so what do? Life throws you curveballs all the time. So what are you gonna do about it? How do you fix that? In our case, we don't have a spare piece of wood. So we need this piece of wood. It's set up. It's not really detrimental to the project. We just have to make that adjustment now. If you're putting this together and you didn't notice it, the moment you put the cabinet in and tried to line up the cabinet face is when you would notice it. So we're gonna back that out. And we're gonna slide our shim in. Not a lot of room to slide that in, but maybe we're gonna back it out more. Come on. So essentially what we're gonna do is we're gonna make up that space with the shim, and we'll just shim along each one of these. A little bit more, looks like we're gonna need a little more. Is this making sense, Talon?
Yeah.
It's probably a little bit weird because I'm talking to the camera, but I'm really talking to all of us. It's almost like you're, how do you describe it? Talking out loud, right? And if you think about it, it's really no different than what we see all the time, whether a camera's running or not running. This is how we do things. And so in this case, we have this problem. So I'm wondering if, when I go to tighten this, if that's going to be enough shim or if I need to pull it out and recut it. Whoa, okay. Like that. There we go. It's really close, except when I let off that pressure, so I think we need to beef up our shin just a little. We're super close. I think it's gonna solve the problem. So back it off again. So you see where I made a mark there? Don't want to cut on the nice countertop. How about the side? I don't really want to slice up that. Let's just go right here. The ladder's fun. Not worried about hurting our ladder. So let's take off half of that. Not what I wanted, but it's actually really what we need. Really, this is all we're after. It's just a little piece. Okay. tight? Did it go tight?
No, we're still good.
I wonder if that shim is actually creating. Because as we pull this tight, it's going to pull out most of that. But being really close to this edge, and that little bit of, I wonder if that little bit of cocking there. Just keep it, no, that or it's just the shim. Let me grab another tool that would be more helpful than that speed square for what we're trying to accomplish.
Yep, still not square. Let's see, there's one person watching. Who's watching? Oh, there's two people now.
So when we go to cut the other piece, so this is a more precise 90 here. And the speed square will do that too, but this will give us like a super accurate. So I think as we push that shim in there, if I put that shim in too far, it's keeping it from pulling up against the wall. So we need a thicker shim further that direction. And it's almost lunchtime too. So let's take another piece here. Like, I love when it does something completely different than what you think it's going to do. And by love, I probably mean the opposite of that. It's like, oh, why does it do that?
Strongly dislike.
Strongly dislike when it does something other than what I'm predicting it to do. But I totally understand that that's just how it goes. So if we leave that attached, we can still cut off more. So let's try that. And we'll retighten it down into it. I like that. So we gotta use, so essentially we just need to run a little bit thicker. I actually thought it was gonna be thinner, but we actually need to run the thicker part of that shim, and that way it presses around. And then we can just trim off the backside and take that out. Perfect. But now we have to do that the whole way up. All right, here's my recommendation. As we pause, we take a break and take a lunch, and we come back to this. And for anybody that's watching, we're gonna take a short pause, probably be back around 12:45, 1 o'clock, and we'll turn the live feedback on for anybody who's following along, trying to figure out how the appliance garage problem gets solved and how we managed to get this all fixed in here and what we have to do to overcome these issues. So thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying, and we're gonna take a little break. And since I know you don't just want to stare at carpentry the whole time, we're gonna give you this wonderful face to look at. Just kidding. We'll be back.